Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis updated commodities, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. I'll interject my financial opinions as we go through it. If you need help with anything, check out finding-value.com. That's where I dive deeper into all of these topics and sectors, looking for potential investment opportunities and sharing that with the community there. There's a lot of things that you can learn as well during the question and answer sessions as people ask me a bunch of different questions. This next question and answer session that's coming up, I'll probably talk a little bit about strategy and how important asymmetry is in strategies. I still think that people need to grasp that a little bit better for perhaps setting up a portfolio. So let's dive in. Let's take a look and see what's going on today. We're starting with the dollar, and the dollar is still very strong. We have a sideways day today, and we're back towards that resistance area. There's your trend line going up. We're coming up against that trend line here very soon. The momentum still to the upside. One of the big drivers of this is interest rates. Interest rates are continuing to head higher. We've got the 2-year. That is up 0.54%, still in an uptrend. We've got the 10-year up 0.7%, still in an uptrend. And the 30-year still in an uptrend as well. And that one is sitting above some resistance, which is now support. So that's actually looking pretty good to continue higher. TYX, TNX ratio, we are continuing to invert the yield curve. That's when it heads lower. It's not necessarily a great setup for precious metals when this curve comes down. Generally, when it uninverts is when things really spice up. But right now, it is heading a little bit lower as we're coming on down here. And that looks to continue to go lower. We've got TLT bond prices still underneath resistance. We've broken through that resistance, and we are still underneath it. Now, are we going to turn and use that as support, or are we going to drop like a rock and head lower? We'll find out. We'll have to wait and find out over the next few trading sessions. The 2 and 10, we are potentially about to break out to the upside where the yield curve inverts again. I know. A lot of people are looking for a recession slowdown, but this to me looks like it's trying to break through that downtrend line and work its way on up, which is a re-inversion of that curve. So gold is slightly higher today. We're just moving sideways, and it looks like it's a flag pattern where we could potentially break out and go higher still. That's still on the cards, and the momentum is still up. Silver up 0.3%. That just looks like a pullback of some sort, and we could break out at any time. We've got a great looking pattern, and everything looks fantastic for a move higher. Platinum is trying to break through its resistance. It's right on top of it, and we'll see if we break out. It looks good to break out at any second here and potentially make a move higher. Palladium up $21 an ounce, looking fantastic. And the momentum of that breakout is continuing on higher. So that looks really good as well. GDX slightly lower, same with GDXJ and SILJ. It's all the same chart. They're all putting in falling wedges or flag patterns for the most part, which are continuation patterns to the upside. So that still looks fantastic to move higher. XAU to gold ratio, we're still at incredibly low levels, basically moving sideways today. And we're at a low little area, not much selling pressure. It's like flagging out. And we could easily see this work its way to the upside with time. We're coming from ridiculously low levels, and we very well have a long runway of valuation where gold and silver mining companies could go up dramatically against gold itself. Crude oil down massively today, down about 5.24 or 5.2%-ish. And what looks weird here is this is a really good setup for a move higher. They released some news, the algos jumped on it, and we had a big down day today. Down $3.8 a barrel at $68-ish. It doesn't look that bad, but it doesn't look great either. So we popped lower, We've got a big wick at the bottom, which means people came in and bought it up throughout the day. So they gapped it in the morning down lower. We've gone sideways and we're trying to fight our way back up. Think of that as a broken downtrend moving its way on up. So it doesn't look horrible. If this was a organic move where people were really scared of a recession, we would be flying lower and ending more towards the closing price. But that doesn't look the case yet. We'll see what happens. We'll see what the next few trading days behind this candlestick look like. TTF gas down a little bit, still good momentum to the upside, still intact. Natural gas down 11%, huge move lower there. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Kind of an oddball day today with nat gas going down 11%. I can't tell you a reason for it. We've got a nice little downtrend break moving higher here, and then it just out of nowhere popped up, which also makes me a little bit weary of what's going on in crude oil, because if this just out of nowhere kind of popped up in nat gas. Now, I'm sure people are going to say, well, it's because of X or it's because of Y. You really think 11% down move is because of whatever you're trying to ascribe the reason? It's just a little bit weird. Our boy XOP, yeah, you know me, we're down 1.36%. Another thing that makes me think that crude oil's move wasn't a genuine move, but it was a move based off of maybe elections or something like that. But we sold off in the morning and people bought it back up. That's why there's a green candlestick there. We're still above support. We're still in this kind of wedge pattern that's come on up that could easily still break to the upside. So something's going on. The algos got triggered, and there's a lot of selling pressure going on. OIH also down 1%, but people bought it back up throughout the day, hence the green candlestick. If we were going into a recession, and if this was so bad, we would see follow through here. We would be ending at its lows, putting in large red candlesticks. And to me, this almost looks like it's trying to bottom and go higher. So we'll see what happens here and what kind of follow through we get. Newcastle coal futures down a little bit. We're still trying to break through this resistance line. TTF gas is looking good. Higher lows all stepping up in here. It looks good to break higher for Newcastle coal futures. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust continuing to move sideways today. We got a little bit of resistance up at the resistance level, and we'll see when this thing decides to turn. Uranium futures pricing also getting hit to the downside. We have a falling wedge here, and that generally means that we want to go higher. Sometimes it does do double bottoms or bottoms out a few times before moving on up. URA getting some buying pressure today, up about 2% into a bullish engulfing. That looks good to go higher. That looks really good, actually. URNM also coming down. We've got small candlesticks into which could be a reversal pattern. We've got support right where we're at. Looking to the left, this support here. URNJ also doing the same thing. We've got support right where we're at. We're kind of like bouncing off that support. We'll see if we start to turn around here or not. So that still looks good. Looks like falling wedges or flag patterns or stuff like that. Copper moving sideways, still looks good to go higher. We've got the falling wedge right behind us. Sometimes it goes sideways for a little bit before moving on up. COPX, falling wedge. It looks like it wants to try to work its way on up. It's a big flag or pennant formation. Still looks good. Iron ore down a little bit today, down 0.86%. Still in a very good formation from a longer term perspective. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the rip higher is generally what comes. Aluminum still at resistance, down 0.8%, right at the resistance level. We'll see if we can finally break through this thing. Nickel down 1.3, and we're still got the double bottom, but we are getting a little bit more selling pressure here on the right-hand side. We'll see if there's any follow through with that. Move up 0.82%. That looks good to go higher. We've got small selling pressure coming down. Think of it as like a flag pattern. We've compressed, so we've got big move, smaller move, smaller move, smaller move, sideways, and now it's turning up. So I think we're going to turn higher right here, and this is a good entry point, in my opinion. Emerging markets also looking good. We've got that falling wedge. We're starting to try to break to the upside, so that looks good to go higher. We've got KRE up about 3% right on support. We'll see if we can break away from that pattern support. TAN also up 2.4%. It's working its way on up, even though Interest rates were higher, but the dollar was sideways. Lithium working its way on up, 1.8%. It looks okay. There's your double bottom, and then a lot of big moves all over there. So yeah, it looks fine. We've got REMX also working its way on up. Think of these as like little patterns. It looks good to continue higher. We've got Baltic Dry Index down a teeny bit, down 0.4%, 0.5%. I'm looking for a turn at some point somewhere in that region down here. So we'll see if we get a turn at some point. XHB up 1%. We're still at that support resistance area. It's now resistance, and we'll see if we can get back above it. I really think interest rates need to fall for this to work out. Russell 2000, it's working its way on up 1.63%, looking not too bad, above a bunch of support. Looks real good. S&P 500, we're all the way up there, nosebleed levels. Getting a little bit of selling pressure here. Kind of looks like a rising wedge to some degree. Maybe we had a little bit lower. We still have support underneath us here at about 56.50. NASDAQ also getting a little bit of buying pressure. Doesn't look that great to me. We've got a huge rising wedge, another rising wedge. This screams that it wants to go lower. We'll see what happens. SMCI still tracking sideways. Nothing real to report that's new there. NVIDIA's down a little bit, getting these more red candlesticks through here. I am surprised that it's up here, but I guess everybody believes that AI is going to go up forever. But it's a bearish engulfing, could potentially roll over. Bitcoin up 2.82%. It's trying to break. It's breaking out of this pattern there. That looks pretty good to move on up. In my opinion, this is a huge flag pattern too, so we could see a big move higher in that. And then Ethereum up just a teeny bit. This doesn't look as good compared to Bitcoin. Bitcoin looks a lot better than Ethereum. He came on down, and this is kind of a inverted flag pattern where it could head lower in the short term. But that's what I've got for today, guys. Give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website. Mayday coupon code MAYDAY. That's still active. If you'd like to join, 50% off the first month only on the monthly membership, and a larger discount on the yearly membership, and discounts in the future on the yearly membership if you use that discount code. But that's what I've got for today. We'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.